Alright, so we just finished our name drawings where we wrote our name, then drew a vanishing point and created orthogonal lines using our rulers to connect the edges of the letters to the orthogonal, or to the vanishing point to create a name drawing that makes our names look like they're rushing out towards us. We're going to hand these in, make a pile at your table so I can collect them as I walk around. We've just finished those. Now we're moving on to our perspective drawings. Here is my example. As you can see here, I have 1 point perspective. I know that it's 1 point perspective because I have one vanishing point where everything gets smaller and goes to that one space. I have different orthogonal lines that are coming away or going to the vanishing point. I know it's a little shiny, so it's kind of tricky to see. And for the purpose of this project, I use 2 different spaces. I have this kitchen space, and I have a city scene space that I mashed together to create one really wacky 1 point perspective looking drawing. So that is what we're going to be starting today. We're starting our thumbnail sketches. So you are going to get a sheet of newsprint, a ruler, a drawing utensil. I will be using pen just so you can see it, but you need to use pencil because it is very, very likely that you will have to erase. And we're going to use this book to help us through. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to draw your horizon line with your vanishing point. So I'm going to take my paper, and I'm drawing thumbnail sketches for 2 drawings. So I'm actually going to draw a line straight down the middle. Oops, there we go. So I can do 1 drawing on this side and 1 drawing on this side. I want both of my drawings to have the same horizon line. So I'm going to draw 1 horizon line that's in the same spot that goes across both sides. Just like that, now I have a crisscross on my paper. And I'm going to add in my vanishing points. I want my vanishing point to be both for each drawing, or on the same side, in the same space for each drawing. So I'm going to draw a little one right in the middle there, one right in the middle there. So your paper should be set up just like this, with 2 halves, 1 drawing on each side, line dividing them down the middle, 1 horizon line, and 2 vanishing points. Now we're not doing a 2-point perspective drawing, we're only doing a 1 point. Remember, this is 1 drawing, and this is 1 drawing. So once you have that, let's see what we're doing next. Now that you have the vanishing point, you're going to draw 2 straight lines down to the bottom, kind of looking like a pyramid. And those are our orthogonal lines, as we studied before. So I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to draw my orthogonal line straight down the middle. On both drawings to make a triangle shape. Now again, this is just a thumbnail drawing, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, now I have my orthogonal lines. Now, if you look at the example in the book, you can see that they turned this pyramid here into a road by adding dashed lines. But look very closely, notice what happens to the dashed lines. I'm just going to add a little bit of light here, let's see. Okay, that helps a little bit. The dashed lines, as they get closer to the vanishing point, what happens to them? Yeah, they get smaller and they're vanishing. So the closer you get to your vanishing point, every single thing that you draw is going to get smaller. Now, they're drawing a road. You can be drawing something that's inside, you can draw something that's outside. It doesn't really matter. It kind of looks cool when you combine an inside space and an outside space, but that is ultimately up to you. If you want to combine 2 inside spaces that don't necessarily belong or 2 outside spaces that don't belong, that's okay too. I am going to be going with the road. So I'm going to draw 1 outside place and 1 inside place. I'm going to label that at the top of my page so I know what I'm drawing. I'm going to draw a road. And I'm going to draw a town. So I'm going to get my road lines in here. Now, the closer they are to me, I want them to be kind of big. So I'm going to start kind of big. And then I'm going to get smaller as I go. Okay, so now I have my road and I have my town. I think there might actually be a road on this town too, so I'm going to draw another road. Again, the closer it is to you, the bigger it is. The smaller away it gets smaller. So now in this book, they're adding telephone poles to the side of the road. And see how they added in these shaded orthogonal lines here to show where the poles were going to go? The poles are standing straight up. They're not leaning away. This is flat, so it needs to be straight up and down, connecting the two orthogonal lines. They measure them out, and as it's getting closer to the horizon line, it does it the same way here. Remember how it starts big and it gets smaller? Same thing if you're going from one side or from the top or from the other side. It gets smaller and closer together the closer you go to the vanishing point. See how they've done that here? And they've added the tops to the poles to make them a little bit more realistic looking. Now, let's look at these 4 examples here. This one has the straight up and down poles that get smaller. This one, the poles are leaning away a little bit and they get smaller. This one, they're only at the top of the, above the horizon line and they're getting smaller. And this one, they are straight up and down and they get smaller, but this one has a big gap, and this one has a small gap, and this one has a smaller gap. Which one do you think is the correct way to draw this perspective? It's this one. Oh wait, no, it's this one. Ha, silly. The spaces between them are getting smaller. This one, the spaces are all the same. Some of you might have thought that this one is correct because these are leaning out and these are above, and that's kind of strange. The spaces are getting smaller between them because they're getting closer together. If you notice down on this drawing, it has little signs along the edge of the highway. They're getting closer and smaller as they get closer to the vanishing point. Your drawings need to do so as well. Now, when you're drawing boxes, the edges of the building are straight up and down, just like those poles that we just saw. The edges are straight up and down, and then the bottom needs to be aligned with the vanishing point. So if I want to draw a building, I'm going to use my ruler. This is the road and this is the town, so I'm going to draw it on this side. I have my straight line up and down. And then to make my bottom line and my top line, they need to be orthogonal. So I'm going to draw this straight. The 2 lines here are straight, and the any horizontal lines need to be orthogonal. They're not just straight. It would look very, very silly if I were to draw a house like this. It wouldn't look as realistic as if I were to draw it with the orthogonal lines here. Now if I want to add trees on the side of my town, they would get bigger the closer they come to me. The next house over might be blocking or might be blocked by this first house. And remember, the horizontal lines, the lines that go across rather than up and down, need to be matching up with the vanishing point. Now, I might have a very tall building here that comes past my horizon line. Now, the roof of this building, the top of this building, needs to slant down towards the vanishing point rather than away, like the other houses did. Now once you've done these two different quick drawings, you're going to flip your paper over. You're going to draw one horizon line with one vanishing point and one starting triangle, the orthogonal lines. And you're going to take bits and pieces from each of these drawings and place them into here, in whichever way you please. You're combining these two drawings into one drawing on the back. And this is going to be your undersketch that you will draw on your final paper for your final composition. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and I will come around. Again, don't forget, I'm collecting these name drawings, so make sure you stack those on your table for me to come around. Happy drawing!